And we are live. Theme song.
Ayo, it's time to go. Yeah. You know what it is. Get into it. Don't act like you don't already know the name. Let's go. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? You heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? I said you heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? I said you heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. Now it's on. Now let's listen.
Welcome to Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense,
Plus more.
plus lots more.
Lots more. All
Episode
right. All right. Here, episode
episode 38.
38. Okay. Okay. Okay.
And just to remind everyone, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Do it now. Do it now before the cows get home.
All right.
Does that still bother you?
Well, it bothers me because you think it bothers me.
Well, that makes sense. Does it bother you?
Well, I mean, today bothered me, if that answers your question.
And I want to just jump right into it. I'm going to jump right into
Let's
this.
go. Let's jump into it. Everybody already knows what it is. Everyone knows what we're doing here.
What are we doing here?
Well, that's a good question. Maybe we could talk about it as a topic.
No, thank you.
All right. Well, we don't have to talk about it.
But I want to say is the story. I'm just speaking for myself. The stories are the issue. The stories are the problem. The stories are the challenge. The stories and the thoughts that are endless. That is it. If I didn't have these stories in my head telling me what's right, telling me what's wrong, telling me something could have been happening sooner, if I didn't have those stories, what a cool ass life.
Well, yeah, I was right there with you till the very end, but yes, the stories they're very noisy, always analyzing, brains always trying to come up with a reason. Why are we doing the show? I mean, we could come up with a reason why we're doing the show, but do we really know?
I know.
Oh, you do know. Well, what's your story?
It's part of my destiny to do this show.
Oh, it's part of your destiny. All right.
Write that down.
I am writing it down as a topic. No, I like that topic of destiny, purpose. What are we doing here? And the reason I said what a good life it would be without the stories, well, I'm not so sure because it's a good life with the stories.
Well, listen to just
Yeah,
who
you know.
listen who just popped out a pearl.
Let's go. You said let's start it off right away. Bam.
And you are correct. It is a good life with the stories, and especially now that I know now that I recognize and know about these stories years ago, decades ago, the stories in my head, I believe they were true, and I believe that they served a purpose, and I believe them. And but you're right, it is heaven with or without the stories, especially since I can recognize them.
Yes, well, recognizing them, that's for sure. Otherwise, it's just a hodgepodge of believing nonsense and every sense and everything in between.
And chasing my tail. If I had a tail in a circle, I'd be going around in a circle and a circle and a circle. Speaking of tails, how are my two little girls? I visited them last week.
Yes, they're doing good. Well, they've told me they're missing you a lot. It was you popped in and popped out, and they ask about you every day.
As well they
As well as
should.
they're doing well. They're doing well. We've gone on one walk since you've been here, and Lexi's not really into the walks right now. Luna is. So I'm I'm torn between encouraging her to do it or to just taking space.
Taking space, give her space. She's not into it right now. Let her not be into it. If I said, "Hey Nathan, are you into hamburger? No, like hamburgers. Are you into Are you into artichokes? I'm not into artichokes right now. But here, let me shove a few down your throat anyway."
I mean, it sounds like a good idea to me because, okay, you're not into artichokes. Well, maybe you will be if you eat one every day.
That's called master slave mentality.
Yes.
And you
Yeah, that's right. Well, I was going to say I grew up that way until you called it master slave, which is such a crude way of calling it. But yes, the dictator, controller, el presidente, do what I say, and this is how it goes, and my way or the highway.
so you grew up like that?
Well, that with sprinkles of that.
Let's be full disclosure. Yes, you grew up like that, but she's not like that anymore. But you definitely grew up like that with my way
Yes.
or the highway, and this is what we're going to do today, Nathan, whether you like it or not. Even though I was a fun mother, funny mother, entertaining mother, no, there is a way. And in fact, if I could go back, but there is no going back. And I know that you got exactly what you needed from me, plus more,
Plus much, much more.
plus more. But yeah, I would be more insightful, more aware of you and your personality per se, as opposed to forcing something on you. No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't walk like, I mean, I was around her and she wasn't enjoying it and she wasn't having fun. This wasn't her thing, unless maybe I took her out and just stood there wherever she wanted to stay for an hour, half hour. That would be cool for her. But otherwise, no, she's not into it right now.
Yeah, this is such a good little playback between you and me, our history, and then the cats and how we do it differently and be more. It just sounds like more of a dialogue, more of a conversation. Okay, what do you need? What do you want? And what's working for you right now? What's not? And I think it's tough. I think sometimes it's very clear in black and white, and other times it's I know you don't want to do this, and we are going to be doing this, whether that's the vet or something, the teeth, the nails.
Well, the
So,
vet and the teeth and the nails are a necessity. A walk is not.
well, that's your opinion. But I do get what you're saying. Yes, necessity, and I just at what point is the cat running the show, and what point am I running the show, or what point are we both getting input? And there are going to be times where me personally, I'm not going to want to do something, and well, I'm going to have to do it anyway. I'm going to have to find a way to find some kind of peace in it,
Now
rather.
let's move on. Let's stop dancing around this topic. Lexi is not in the mood to walk right now. I looked at her, she looked at me. We had a clear conversation. She's not in the mood. So I'm not walking her right now.
And you're
Period.
not walking her. That's for
Next
sure.
next topic.
Well, do we have words of the day?
Yes, words of the day. You first.
My word of the day is tawdry, Tawdry, tawdry. It's a word I didn't even know, and somebody casually used it in a conversation, and I pretended like I knew what they were talking about, and then I quickly went to Google and looked it up, and it's a little fun word. It means showy but cheap and of poor quality.
Say that
So,
again, because you actually cut out just for a
oh,
second.
showy but cheap and of poor quality. Cheap and tawdry jewelry.
Why are you smiling? You like
I,
this word.
I like this word because it's because it's you think it's you think it's something and it's just cheap.
Yeah, tawdry. I knew
It's
the
tawdry.
word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but do
yeah.
you use the word?
No, but I will now
I hope so.
because I know a lot of tawdry people.
I know some tawdry people too. I'm looking at one.
What? Tawdry, I
Tawdry.
cheap. What? Well, there's certain things, yes, and most things, no. And there's a gnat in here. Well, I have these gnats from the plants and they're
Plants.
coming out. And then I Googled how do you get rid of gnats? Do you know how?
Well, I know how I did it with mine, and they have. I don't, it did help, but I put a little sticky. Now this is tawdry and tacky, but it's a little sticky paper insert that you put in the plant, and then all the gnats and bugs get stuck onto it.
Oh,
And it
hmm.
did, yeah, it did work.
It
That's
did.
one way.
o-
I also got a spray, but I'm not sure if the spray worked.
Okay, so you put a sticky thing inside the plant, and then all the gnats stick to the plant to stick to the
Yes.
sticky. So
Hmm.
it's like a quicksand for the gnats.
Yeah, it's really terrible.
Yeah, I'm not into that. But what I'm going to do is what I read was hydrogen peroxide with water, mix it in water, and then you water them, and it kills all of the eggs and the larvae.
Oh, interesting. Okay, you
And
love
by the
your
way,
hydrogen peroxide.
I do love my hydrogen peroxide, and we do had a couple people watching, viewing, and then they left.
Well, I'm used to it now.
Yeah, good. Perfect. And it's funny that you should say now we're really getting off, but I was in Costco yesterday and I picked up some more hydrogen peroxide only because I'm going to have to use it on all of the plants in here because I don't know where the gnats are coming from. So every plant is going to get soaked with hydrogen peroxide and water. However, I was there and a total stranger came up to me and he had he had containers of alcohol. You know, in Costco you buy two for the price of one. And he says, "What's the difference between alcohol and hydrogen peroxide?" And boy, did I ever give him a education in about 15 minutes of explaining all of the good things that hydrogen peroxide can do. And so he put the alcohol back and he picked up the hydrogen peroxide, including cleaning your ears. I don't know if anybody knows this, but you lean your head to the side and you just put a couple of droplets in your ear and you keep your head to the side so you can listen to all of the crinkly, 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 clean, clean, crinkly, crinkly, clean. Pop it out, and then your ear is cleaned.
Well, I think we've just had our first sponsor for our show. And this show is brought to you by, at least today, by hydrogen peroxide.
Oh,
Grab you a nice big bottle. Yes.
I love it. Our new sponsor, hydrogen peroxide. Well, welcome, HP.
Yes. All right. Well, I'll be curious to see how it does with your plants. It sounds a little risky putting that in the plants, but who knows?
It sounds perfectly normal to me, and especially with the amount of hydrogen compared to the water. So it sounds perfectly normal to me. And word of the day, I'm going to have to come up with something because I don't have a word of the day. Hold on a second.
Oh,
Hold on a second.
well, let me know if you need to borrow a word.
Yeah, let me borrow a word from you.
Let's borrow a word. Let's say,
If you can do it within, 10 seconds as opposed to giving a whole introduction as to borrowing words. Keep going.
maybe you should have a couple drinks of hydrogen peroxide and come back later.
Now you want to kill me?
I know. You want to kill me?
You want me dead?
I just want to just clean it out. The word is infer.
Oh,
Infer. You know that one.
I do that. And I look at your nice tail that you have going.
Yes.
Hi there, little loony girl.
That is Luna's tail.
I know Luna's tail. So infer, I like that word, infer. I'm going to infer that I'm having a great time doing these shows with you, and it's the truth. Not only am I inferring it, it is the truth of the matter. Great time.
Yes, to deduce or conclude information from evidence and reasoning rather than from explicit statements.
Thank you for that. Infer. I'm going to infer another topic.
Let's infer it.
I wonder, just even I love it using the words
Using
the
it
wrong
wrong.
way.
It's so funny. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
Well, listen, we're not going to use it right. We might as well use it wrong.
get it. And that's
Thank
part of
you.
the nonsense of the show. Now, I want to say this. I was asked to just give a real brief summary of what I do, who I am, happiness special. Who are you? What do you do? What's your ideal client? All of that. I was asked to just do very briefly, less than 5 minutes this week. And of course, after I presented or shared, it was over. And then the ego just comes and just hits me with all of the things that I could have said, should have said. Why didn't you mention? You didn't even think of. And the other question came up. Well, what is your ideal client? Huh? Ideal client. I don't even have that thought in my head. Ideal client. Anybody that wants to experience more happiness, maybe. But even with all of that, there was a lot of just a big problem after for me. There is never any satisfaction, any contentment, any wow, that was a good job, without just an issue of something needed to change. The present moment wasn't good enough. And I'm telling you, Nathan, that has stayed with me. That was Wednesday. What is today? At least 2 days, 3 days. It's just stayed. It just goes back and hits. It goes back. And I'm just watching and observing that my ego is coming to a time of just total recognizing when it hits, and just watching how it operates and how it moves and how it infers that there is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to watch it without trying to get rid of it, trying to change it. Just look at its function and how it acts. Yeah, and that's it. That's all I can do right now. That's all I can do.
Well, that's such a good story. I really get it. It's hitting on two topics for me, and one of them was because we talked a little bit about it. You shared with me on the phone. One of the topics is what. Well, I'll just go back to the stories, because you talked in the very beginning about the stories doesn't have anything good to say. And I'm remembering for me when I did that music video. Remember, I made that post about it. So we did that probably 3 weeks ago, and at the very end, we all got to do one at a time, just us freestyle dancing to whatever song we wanted to. And then a few people went before me, and then I was getting, nervous. Like these other people are good, and I'm not as good, and what am I going to do? And I don't really have a plan, and this and that. And then I did my dance, and I didn't feel, it's the stories afterwards where you didn't do this, you could have done this, why didn't you do this move? You normally could have, and all these stories, and they said, good job, you did great. That wasn't the story in my head. And so for me, and I did get a chance to do it again, and I did do, in my opinion, I did better the second time, but I still had some of the stories. So what I'm trying to do with that is, one, call the stories out just for being bullshit. Number one, okay, that's enough. It's just noise, and we're done. And the other thing I'm trying to do is, okay, I hear you, but that moment is over. And if we get a chance to do something like that again, I will take whatever notes, constructive criticism into account next time. I can't do it over, so I'm not going to beat myself up over that. But for next time, okay, I hear you, and we'll focus on that when it comes, because I do want helpful notes, but I don't need notes that are just gonna, you know, take me down and tell me what I didn't do last time.
Well, one of the things that I practice, I don't know if I shared with you, but one of the things that I practice now is asking my ego for another perspective. Now I've got all of these negative, discontented thoughts and stories, and ego, what's another perspective? And when I ask my ego what's another perspective, 99% of the time, there's silence, because my ego only comes up with just one perspective, one negative perspective. And then, okay, notes about for the future. That for me, that seems like that's extra baggage too. Now I've got notes for the future. I'm just talking about for myself, but I do understand it, especially coming from a place of being on stage, and notes are open to, yeah, okay, a note, it makes sense, is what I want to say. Notes make sense on that scale of, I'm acting, I'm on stage, give me a note, and maybe I could turn left a quarter as opposed to turn all the way, and then you don't see my face in the shot. Something like that. I get it.
Yes. And then a note about, okay, listen, the show's over, so we're not going to harp on what we did. Okay, you didn't do that. You should have done that. You could have done that. Let's focus on what I can do. Let's focus on, okay, for the next show. So that just keeps it, yeah, it keeps it for me more productive and helpful. That seems helpful.
Yeah,
The
light.
attacking, yeah, light. And then I also like the idea of just getting another just getting another chance. There's no redos. That moment's over, and there's always another opportunity.
Yes, another
Yeah.
chance, another opportunity.
Yeah.
I want to share, which I know that's Lexi. Is that Lexi?
Well, now it's both of them.
Oh, okay. Girls, give dad a little break. Girls, it's grandma.
Mhm.
Girls, I know you hear me. Give him a break. I
They're
know
not
it's not
acting like they
easy.
hear you.
I know it's not easy living with him. Give
No,
him a
it's
break.
not. I mean, they're
Give,
doing great with it. I'm doing good too. I'm doing the best I can.
oh, I know you are. Let me get to one of my favorite topics, which just, even though I'm 68 years old, it just never seems to leave me.
Customer service.
It's
Oh,
on that same,
okay.
in the same family. Questions.
That's a good one.
And I was at the bank, of course, and there was a new lady. Hey, little girls. It was a new woman. Yay. Hey, what's up, Looney girl? Hey, Looney. Thank you for being part of the show. Loon, it's this way. The camera's this way. Looney, thank you. Don't act like you don't hear me. You can do that with your dad, not with me.
Don't do it with me either, please.
They listen. They told me we try not to listen as much as possible, but
I,
sometimes he catches us not listening to him.
I can understand that. It's a similar strategy I use with you growing up.
I knew he was going to say that.
All right, please continue.
Thank you.
And you don't have
a
to talk so close to the mic. We can all hear you loud and clear.
Well, now I'm just going to talk even closer.
And this is what it was like, ladies and gentlemen.
You tell me what to do, I'm going to do the opposite.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know.
You know that.
I know, but it hasn't really sunk in.
Well, one of these days, maybe, hopefully, before I'm dead, it will soak in. But
Hopefully for me.
let me get back to the questions. I'm at the bank and there's this new lady in the bank, and here I go up. Someone's training. Anytime I see a new person, especially where this bank is situated, because it's the only bank in this community that it's the only Chase Bank in the whole community. Anyway, I'm there and a new lady, and I said, and I even said to the manager, I said, a new trainee, because she was the only one behind the counter. A new trainee. Oh, I can't wait. I love trainees. Not. And the manager says, oh no, she's been an employee for over 20 years. She's who I go to for questions. She knows exactly what she's talking about. She just transferred from another bank, but I go to her to ask questions. I said, oh, okay, good. She's not a trainee. Thank you, Jesus. Then, of course, they're all trained to ask the same question. Hi, how's your day going? Is there anything else I can help you with? Would you like an envelope for that? I mean, Nathan, I get to the point where I cut off the questions right off the bat. My day is going well. No, there's nothing else. This is all that I want. No, I don't need an envelope. I mean, I cover every single question before they ask me. I mean, I'm ready. I know the questions and I'm ready to fire. So now they won't, now the purpose, the agenda, my intention is so they don't ask me a question. And
I love that. It's very clear.
Very clear. I'm very clear, very vocal. And this woman manages to pull out of her ass 2 questions that I didn't have covered.
I can't wait. And we really can't wait to hear what they are.
Which the first one is, I got 2 money orders. Would you like me to fold your money orders for you?
Oh, wow. That means she's really scraping the bottom of the barrel with that one.
I was fuming.
Yeah, because that's not even fair. That's such a non-question. You really came prepared, and she slipped a.
I was fuming with that question, and then of course my ego was allowed to act it out, because here we go. My ego can't act anything out without my permission, without Rebecca Norrington stepping in and acting it out, because my ego doesn't have a voice. It doesn't have anything unless Rebecca acts it out. So Rebecca got huffy and said, no, I'll fold them myself. And I was dead serious about it.
Oh, yeah.
And the other question, there was one more question that she hit me with that I wasn't prepared for. But there was 2 questions, and I was fit to be tied. And then I made a phone call, which I thanks a lot, you know who. And the bad advice that was given to me was, you're doing it all wrong. You're supposed to be walking into the bank asking for questions, not resisting the questions, asking for more questions. Why don't you, yeah, more questions, please. Ask for it. And if it wasn't a phone call, I would be pummeling on that one too.
Wow. That's wild. That's some new perspective, advice and suggestions, really flipping it. I mean, there's basically the opposite of what you were doing. It's trying to combat these questions and minimize them and stop them in their tracks. instead of asking for questions. I mean, you told me just this opportunity to transcend, this opportunity to get to another level, and these are our ways. And getting to the other level, transcending and finding a spiritual solution and peace is a challenge. I mean, there's a little bit of a challenge in it. There's a climbing up like a rock climbing. There's jumping. There's something in it where I don't feel like getting over the hill.
However, and I know, and I knew it instantly. Asking for the questions is the solution. It is a solution. The other way, all I'm doing is resisting. I had agendas. I had preferences. I was no. I mean, I can feel it. And then if I got out with no question asked, that whole thing, intention causes tension. Intentions causes tension. I'm done. Now I'm going to start asking for questions because I'll be damned. I have to master this. This is one of my challenges, and I want to master it. I want to get to a place where, yeah, you could ask me any question. I mean, what kind of weak ass am I that I can't get questions asked? That's okay. Weak, whatever. This whole stuff is about to shift. I'm asking for questions now. Thanks.
Well, I've got a good one too. I mean, now I'm inspired. I don't want to be left behind. Mine's even worse than yours. I mean, questions.
Oh, good.
Mine is worse, and it's so backwards. It doesn't even make sense. I think I've told you about this before, but there are two people who shall remain nameless who I do a excuse me.
Oh. Well, what you were saying? You were saying what?
And it happens to tie in perfectly with you and what bothers me with you. So this will be really good. Listen up, everybody. So it is though, and you do this too. And so two people who shall remain nameless that I check in with at work, and every single time I check in with them, it's
You don't
always
check in with me.
I talk to you often. That's a check-in.
Oh, okay.
And
Not often enough.
and this is a part of it. So I can't seem to have an interaction with them without them joking around. It's always a joke.
I want to meet them. They sound like my kind of people.
Yeah, well, they're lots, and they're both funny. They're funny. I like to banter with them, and I guess I've just bantered my way into a corner because now it just won't stop. And I try to get through an interaction with them without being funny. And that's my agenda. It's so backwards. And they say, Lou, hi, Nathan. Boo, 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 boo. And I look at them like, hello, thank you. And I try
What a
to not be funny.
spoiler you are, Jerry.
Listen, I know, and I feel like such a sad sap and a buzz kill and a fun
All
killer.
of that. A Debbie Downer, sad sack, buzzkill, joke blocker.
joke blocker. But listen,
Fun downer.
fun, and you do it too. I came on, and I can't even say good morning without a joke right away. Can we just say good morning and keep it moving
With no joke?
with no joke?
No joke attached?
So I don't know. Apparently, that's my problem. And if I if I take your advice, I'm asking for more jokes. I don't know how many more jokes I can handle here.
You can handle jokes.
I thought I could.
Jokes aren't going to kill you.
Well, I guess questions aren't going to kill you either.
What are you trying to say?
Was that a question? And believe me, I'm right there with you on the questions. I didn't even know I was bothered by questions until I started being bothered.
Get it? Well,
Uh,
so yes, you have to ask for the jokes. I'll take some water too.
I have to ask for more jokes.
And I have to ask for more questions.
What a torturous life we have.
Next topic. Or do you have a topic?
Well, I was gonna go back to what you were saying in the beginning of who's your clientele and
Can you
who,
just get there as opposed to giving us a long rendition of going back? Can we just get to the destination, or do we have to go on a journey to get to the destination?
is this another thing I have to ask for too? Because this also really bothers me. But anyway, it's a good point. I'll get to it. So,
It's too late. The show's over.
show's over. Thank God. I just keep looking at the clock. Like, I'm looking at you, and then I look at the clock. So anyway,
What are you trying to say?
that I'm enjoying
What are
every
you trying
second.
to infer?
Oh, nice. So, do a teaching. Well, I want to talk about teaching a little bit. And have you? Because I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to make more money doing this teaching thing? I don't know if I want to do more classes, physical class for my body, and I just don't know if I want to do more. There's personal on one-on-one, and then there's online too. So this is a teacher to a teacher question, and I think you've done one-on-one at a certain time. But what are your thoughts on personalizing the work and did you ever think like, okay, I need to make more money teaching, or did you think I just needed something else to do?
Great question. Great question. I would say, and I've been in the same boat with you, making more money teaching. For me, was to add easy classes. If I want to do that, classes that are just are no brainer, that I just show up and I mean, physically, I'm not exerting a lot. That's number one. Number two, yes, I can do the one-on-one personal training, and that's quote unquote more money. But for some reason, it's just not my thing. One person, it's, I mean, I can do it. I've done it a lot. But just one-on-one, it's just, for me, it's just not as much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I do, based on that, the fun. And then you said something, I spent most of my life having a regular job, a 9-to-5 job, and then teaching after. So yeah, a part-time, another position where I'm not having to be somewhere every time that I'm teaching, because teaching, you have to be there. Online, it's the same. I mean, online is fun too, but for me, the feel, the pushback, the energy exchange, in-person classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Well, that's very helpful. I was thinking that too, for sure. To easy classes, something that's meaning not it's gonna be so physically, the exertion on the body. It can't be adding all these classes. And then one-on-one, I feel similar to you. Yeah, I just wanted your insight on that, because I'm wondering where I can take this, if I even take it anywhere. Maybe it's not even teaching, maybe it's something else.
Even
Yeah.
if it's just part-time, because when I was working at UPS, I was part-time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for a long time, I worked part-time.
Part-time.
Yeah, long time. I think I was there 18 years, 17 years, part-time. The other topic I want to bring up, as far as blocking people, and I came up with, there is a way to block someone that for whatever reason I have to block them. And this is not a stranger or somebody that I don't know that's out there social media and they make a comment, now it's time to block them. These are blocking people that I know. And it's just time to do something different. It's time to move on. And usually in the past I would just block them, just block, and that causes, I'm just sharing with you, that causes this drama. Now they don't, what's going on, now they can't contact me, and now they used to be able to contact me. What is it now? I've created drama, as opposed to, I'm calling this consciously blocking. And what do you think about this? And this is what I did. I sent a text and I said, I'm not going to be communicating for a while. I'm not going to be communicating. And I didn't say with you, but I said, I'm not going to be communicating for a while. And then I blocked them. And it's funny because I blocked them on the phone. And then when I got home, there was another message on my MacBook. So I just blocked the phone, and then I had to call Apple and say, well, how do I block them through all of my devices, which I got the answer. But yeah, so it's making the announcement, I'm not going to be communicating for a while, and then blocking. What do you think about that as far as consciously blocking?
I love it. What it's such a good topic. I'm really into that consciously because I blocked as well. And then and it's okay for a little bit, but then I can feel it in my body and my mind. It's just something is it's I think it's such a good topic. I think it's tricky because to, like you said, consciously blocking. How do I do this without the stories? I love that text that you said. There's no stories in that. Not even, I'm not communicating with you, just not communicating for a while. Because for me, I really don't know the future. I don't know if I'm going to be, if I need a month or if I need, or it indefinitely. Well, it's really indefinitely. I don't know. And I really like the idea of communicating first. I'm trying to take out the drama. I'm trying to create peace. And for whatever reason, I need to not deal with communicating for my peace. But then how do I do that? I love it, Mom. I think it's a great idea. And, there's no one perfect way. There's, like we always say, there's all these different perspectives and just feeling it out as we go. And that seemed to work for you with that particular circumstance. And we'll see.
Yeah, but so it's making an announcement. It's letting everyone know that I'm not going to be communicating and I'm not going to say an amount, and then it's just doing it. And I do not want a response. Don't need a response. Do not want to go back and forth. No,
It's not a conversation.
it's
It's
not a
not a
conversation.
question. It's not permission. It's communication.
It's a
I'm get,
statement.
it's a
Yes,
statement.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I'm glad because I have this on my list, and I'm glad I got to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to continue that because I think that's going to come up too. Just yeah, well, and this is such a good topic. The drama is I think it's tricky for me because I think I'm like with that laughing thing and going into work and then trying not to laugh. I think I'm creating peace by doing that, but the way I'm doing it doesn't feel peaceful for me.
Mm.
I'm trying to do peace, but there's another way of doing this to create peace for myself. And it's the same with blocking. I mean, so or taking space from someone. And how do I do this? Now for me, I'm thinking maybe I don't have to say anything. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. Then I do want to say something. I don't want to play a game. I want to
Yeah,
be clear.
because it's easy to block, but when I block, then there's aftermath from blocking, especially when they don't know. And so now it's, well, where are they? I even had people email me when they couldn't get a hold of me because they've been blocked. Yeah, but anyway, for me, it's a communication. It's an honest communication, and it has nothing to do with their feelings, have nothing to do with their responses, nothing. This is what I need to do for me, and that's what's happening. Bam!
Well, I'm going to block you and I'm going to block everybody else from this show because we're done. Unless
Well,
you
wait,
have any.
before we go, I just want to share this. My latest book,
Oh,
Program for
yes.
Unhappiness, is out. Program for Happiness, Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. Yes, and I am going to be doing interviews every Saturday for September on LinkedIn at 5:00 Pacific time. Thank you. My editor is going to be doing that for me. Live interviews, but I love this show. I love Mother and Son Making Sense Out of Nonsense.
Plus more.
I love this show every week, and thank you for hanging in there with me. Thank you, audience, and we will be back live next Saturday. And remember, I do Reality Spirituality Radio every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Call in with your questions.
Yes. Okay. Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Saturday, you've got interviews, 5 p.m. And let's go.
Pacific Standard Time.
Yes. All right.
And with that being said, making sure it's loud
Hey,
from the
yo,
very
it's time
first.
to go. Yeah. You know what it is. Get into it. Don't act like you don't already know the name. Let's go. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? You heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? I said you heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. What? I said you heard me. Mother and son making sense out of nonsense. Plus more. Now it's on. Now let's listen.